At 13, Niesha Neal was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes type 1, one of the top 2 causes of renal failure. While her friends were worried about grades and crushes, Niesha was worried about her life with an often fatal disease. Then, when she was 19, Niesha got the second part of the 1-2 punch life would hand her: pregnancy-induced high blood pressure. She was able to deliver her first son, Adante, safely, as well as her second son, Tyreek, 1 year later. In 2015, Niesha was happily married with 2 teenage sons and about to take the LSAT for law school. But life had other plans for her. 2015 was the year Niesha found out she had advanced to stage 5 renal disease, the final stage of kidney failure. Without dialysis, Niesha would die, and without an organ donor match, she would never be able to quit dialysis. Even with these complications, even as her body grew weaker, Niesha wouldn't give up on her family or herself. She enrolled in classes at Indiana Tech and started working toward a degree in criminal justice. She tried to study during the 4-hour block of dialysis she had scheduled for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, but found it difficult to concentrate. Bright lights, voices, and sounds surrounded her, and she often found herself praying that today no one would die at the clinic, and imagining what it would feel like when her name was at the top of the organ donor list. At age 35, and in stage 5 of renal failure, Niesha Neal graduated with her BA in criminal justice. With support from family and friends, she believed she could juggle it all: law school, her job as a nanny, 12 hours of dialysis a week, and raising 2 teenage boys. But in 2018, Niesha was faced with a new threat: her own government. In 2018, and with support from Republican buddies in the Indiana General Assembly, Governor Eric Holcomb outsourced Indiana's Medicaid transportation to Southeastrans, a 2-star Georgia-based company owned by Republican donor and Georgia Governor's Committee member Steve Adams. This clearly ties Steve Adams to Governor Brian Kemp, who is close to Mike Pence. Niesha noticed changes right after Southeastrans took over management of Indiana's Medicaid transportation service, and says she missed at least 20 dialysis appointments due to Southeastrans.
I keep you up too long because you have dialysis tomorrow morning, right?
Got to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Ooh,
I know, right?
God. And wait, I want to share one thing you said with me when we talked, which one of the sentences that stuck out when we were talking before is that you said, listen, you basically, you said something like you have come to terms with the fact that you have diabetes. You have come to terms with the fact that you have, you need a new kidney and a pancreas. What's harder to come to terms with is that your government is keeping you from getting the treatment that you need. And that is what you said, that's almost, is it as hard or is it harder than just having it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
it is, it's not as hard as dealing with the disease, but it's equivalent to. And I say it's equivalent to because my body and other Hoosiers, other Americans' bodies, whether that's diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney failure, chemo, whatever the health-related issue is, our bodies rely on being able to see our doctors, to get to our appointments on time, and to have all of that pretty much taken away, because there was never an issue with the original plan.
That's what you said.
You know, this new plan, it's like this Southeast come in and say, you know, hey, pay us this 128, what is it, billion dollars?
128 million, yep.
Yeah. Because it was
tax dollars. That's why I'm pissed off too. They're my tax dollars too.
Exactly.
Just a little few of them.
Exactly. And was this done because the last provider was a little bit too costly, and maybe Southeast came in with the cheaper way of hey, pay us this cheaper amount, we can save you millions. But just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's better.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Do you want to save millions or do you want to save lives? Like,
exactly.
And I think that's something we all have to be thinking about. Do you want to save millions or do you want to save lives? And I know that myself and everyone I know and love, we always choose people's lives.
Yes.
I shouldn't even it shouldn't even be a conversation we're having. You know what I mean? In this day, as my dad would say also, in this day and age, if we can't figure this stuff out, but the sad thing is that Aaron told me and you told me, and I've heard now, by the way, from people all across Indiana who are emailing me and messaging me, and also Georgia, Arkansas, where a 5-year-old boy died. As I said,
so sad.
So that one was the worst. I mean, it was just, I mean, it's sad when anyone dies, but when a kid is in a hot van under the care of someone who's being paid to do a job. There were 4 employees who got fired, or obviously fired, but I think charged with manslaughter. And they were the provider that Southeastrans chose. That's the company we're using for the state of Indiana. And it breaks my heart to think of any other 5-year-old boy in Indianapolis or Jasper or, Kokomo, Paoli. I mean, you and I are born and raised here. We don't want any of our friends and family across the state for this to happen to. So it just makes me angry. And really quickly, can you tell us, how many times do you think that you were left? You never got your ride to dialysis, or you were left at your appointment. How many times did that happen?
It was roughly about 20 times. And that's 20 times with like a slew full of issues. Rather, I recall a time when the driver was driving like a bat out of hell just to get me to the dialysis center. And I'm in the back seat of the car like, oh, Jesus. Oh, I don't know what they do in the Catholics, but I'm circling my whole body. I'm making crisscross and triangles and circles. And Lord, just help me.
Help me.
And then I took a picture of the speedometer. I contacted Southeast and I said, this is what I went through today.
Niesha found out she was not alone. She met a social worker named Erin Stinnett from Paoli, Indiana, who would not stop fighting for her clients, who she said were dying because of this new system introduced by Holcomb and Pence.
The following are Medicaid complaints about Southeastrans in Indiana.
Member called, stated she has missed dialysis several times due to provider no-show or late coming to get her.
At the scene before verifying
every time
that the
she
member
calls,
made
they
back
say
home safely.
they did not
Member
have
is very upset
a person
that
en
she
route,
does not have
and she
ride
cannot
to
keep
her
missing her
specialist,
dialysis
and that the
treatment.
provider refused to take her to the appointment
Findings.
and then didn't get
Provider
to the door
was a
safely.
company only used as last resort. Findings. And states
Provider advised no
door-to-door
company are
assistance
not
will be provided
guaranteed
for
since
any
they are a
wheelchair
form
member
of
Southeastrans was
transportation.
unaware of performance changes to the contracted agreement. Added provider to members do not use list.
February 7, date February 5th, 2020. Date February 3rd, 2020, 10:38 p.m. Doctor office.
Member called
member
in,
complained that provider did not show
member
up.
person
Member
February
showed up
13th,
on
2020.
February 1st,
stated that
at the door.
X
the
did
person
not
who yelled at
know the
her when
driver
member
or
stated that
the
she no
driver
longer
arrived
needed
9:45
providers.
as well.
and
She
due to
feels
no
like
response
she is
from
member
provider, the driver
of
tried to make
preference
member
providers,
claim own walk
like
educated member
another
on
to
providers
the vehicle
and
herself.
any
Member
member was
provided.
advised
Search
told
will continue for
found
permanent
dispatcher was
providers
unable to
and
do so
member
because
educated
ship
on
has been
alternate
canceled as
transportation
provider
options.
driver
No
stated
show.
he could still get
SSR
her
was
to her
notified of the
provider's
February
no
4th,
show about
2020.
9:48 reached out to
Date
her member away from her home. The driver
February
was doing
7th,
member's mother's
55,
driver
was
was
in
a
Florida
provider
State,
portal.
was doing
Yeah.
60-65 and on 10.
This is a complaint from the
February
Southeastrans.com website.
Conditions of the
Someone
road.
this is a complaint from the Southeastrans.com.
On Friday, October 30th, 2020, Niesha Neal was admitted to the hospital and treated for sepsis. Niesha and thousands of Americans need your help. First, make sure to check off the organ donor box on your ID. Second, contact your government officials and fight for reliable and professional Medicaid transport services. And if you are healthy, please consider donating a kidney to Niesha. You can also follow her on Facebook at A Kidney for Niesha. And last but not least, vote. Vote like Niesha's life depends on it. Because it does.